So today I have this tutorial for you, which is for like this bronzy, summery look that one of my friends suggested I make actually. I hope you like how it turned out, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into the video. Woo! Oh my gosh. Okay. Now that my eyes are primed, I'm going to get started with my eyebrows. So I do have a little bit of product on my eyebrows already. So with this angled brush, I start at the tail and I take a slightly darker shade of brown. And I just go like this, draw a line. I already have product on the center of my brows, so I'm just gonna kind of leave that. But like I said, I do a dark line on the outside, bring it in a little bit, and take the lighter shade of brown. And I really already did this, but I'm gonna draw a line here and then kind of feather it upward. Then, taking this makeup remover wipe, I just clean up the edges. I go along the top of my brow and then down the tail. This is like the most important part. And if I'm not paying very close attention, I will screw up and make the tail too thin. But no big deal. All I have to do is go over it a second time. I'm just gonna brush through them. Now that they are even enough, I'm going to get started with my eyeshadow. So before I do anything, I'm going to take this fluffy brush and this loose powder. I'm going to set my primer, and this is gonna make everything blend easier. I'm going to use the halo eye technique, which is basically when you make the inner and outer corner of your lid darker than the very center of your lid. It'll really make your eyes pop and bring attention to them. I'm gonna start with this coppery color, and I'm taking the Sigma E57 and patting it on the inner and outer corner of my eyelid. And then with the same brush, I'm going to connect it at the top, right below my crease, not really bringing it into my crease. And then I'm doing the same thing here on my other eye, just packing it onto the inner corner and then onto the outer corner. And then leaving the center blank, I'm just gonna connect the two spots that I made like so. At this point, you can either grab a new brush or just wipe the same brush off on the back of your hand or something like that. That's exactly what I did. I'm taking the same brush and then this lighter kind of sandy yellow color, and I'm gonna pack that right on the center of my lid where I left it blank. I'm going to lightly bring it on top of the color that I already have down, in patting motions mostly. And this is what's going to blend it out. You're just slowly bringing it on top of the other color, but making sure it's most pigmented in the center. Same thing with the other eye. I'm gonna pack it onto the center and then slowly kind of dab it on top of the other color. Dab. Making sure the colors are blended together. Once you feel that they are sufficiently blended together, you can move on to the crease. I'm going to keep the crease really warm and bronzy, so to start off, I'm using this transition shade that is very warm. Now, if you want anything to be blended, you want it to be your transition shade, because that color is going up higher than any other color you're putting in your crease. So if you can get that one color to be perfectly blended, then whatever else you put in your crease should at least have a smooth transition into like your eyebrow. And that's the one spot that like people are really going to notice if it's not blended. So whatever you pick for this shade, you want to make sure it's just a little bit darker than your skin tone. If you're doing a more warm look, you're gonna want a warmer transition shade. If you're doing a cooler look, you want a cooler one. Now going in with this more red toned brown, I'm going to begin adding depth to the crease. I like to use small circular motions when doing this, and that will help blend it into the transition shade. And when I do this, I really only get the color on the tip of my brush. So once again, I'm going to look down and start making circular motions in my crease. You want to make sure it's darkest right in the socket of your crease. I'm using really weird terminology today. Now going back with the same brush I used to put on my transition color and my transition color on the brush, I'm going to literally, I'm just going to go over it, go over like the edge of the color. What am I talking about? I'm not gonna go over like the very depths of my crease, just everything else, and really blend these two colors together. I want to keep this look relatively light. I don't want to add any more dark colors into my crease. So the final thing I'm going to do for my eyeshadow on my lid is go over the coppery color, just because when I put on the crease color, it kind of blended some of that away. Now I'm gonna clean up the fallout with my makeup remover wipe, and if it comes below my eye, I'm just gonna wipe that away. Yeah, it's gonna create a harsh line, but we will fix that up later, I promise. I'm going to go ahead and highlight my brow bone. For this, I am going to use white. I'm gonna use a white color in this e.l.f. contour brush. As you can see, I brushed up my eyebrow hairs beforehand just so I don't get it all up in my eyebrows. You're gonna wanna make sure it's the most pigmented right here on the arch of your eyebrow. And then taking this blending brush that has nothing on it, I'm just gonna blend my transition color in my eyebrow, blend it together if needed, and you are good to go. Eyeliner. I am using the Kat Von D tattoo liner in the shade Trooper, which is just black. I'm going to create just a thin line, nothing too dramatic, no cat eye or anything. By the way, all the products and eyeshadows I am using will be listed in the description below if you're really curious. So like I said, just a nice little line. Now moving on to the face. I'm gonna start with my Smashbox Pore Minimizing Primer, just 2 dots on each of my cheeks, really 1 dot on each of my cheeks. This is for the most part where I have the most visible pores, so that is why I'm priming there. For foundation today, I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation, and then I'll do 2 stripes on either side of my face, and then on my chin, and then on my forehead with whatever I have left. When you get around the eye area where you may or may not have a line right here, just be careful, and if you go over that line a little bit, it'll help blend it out. When I get to my forehead, I'm really not gonna add that much more product just because my forehead is pretty clear, and if we're keeping it as natural as possible, then I'm just gonna keep the layer of foundation up here as thin as possible. So as you can tell, I fixed right here where the eyeshadow came below my eye. You don't really want your eyeshadow to ever come below your eye, but I'm about to put powder on, and when I do that, I'm going to take this blending brush and go over right here. But first I'm gonna put on concealer because for some reason, whenever I film videos, I forget to put on concealer. I highly recommend this concealer for covering blemishes, like if you're not gonna wear foundation. It's the Amazing Cosmetics Amazing Concealer, and it is truly amazing. Now, because I'm not highlighting my face with my under eye concealer, I'm going to bake underneath my eyes, which you could totally do this either way, but the main reason I'm doing this is to use it as a highlight, because I noticed that if I bake with this powder, which is slightly lighter than my foundation, it does happen to highlight underneath my eyes. I'm gonna start patting it underneath my eyes and down onto my cheeks. And I'm just making that nice triangular shape underneath my eyes, which I would do with my concealer that I don't own. I do it on my chin and on the center of my forehead. So yeah, what baking basically does is it sets your makeup by you applying an excess amount of powder, and your body heat will get trapped in between your skin and the powder, and it will literally bake your concealer or your foundation. Even though I am gonna end up setting the rest of my face with that same color powder, it's still gonna be noticeably lighter in these parts of my face that I'm baking. Now I'm gonna go ahead and wipe away the excess powder. Our concealer isn't gonna go anywhere. And now with a regular amount of powder, I'm going to set the rest of my face. We're going for a pretty bronzy look, so I'm going to apply my bronzer first, starting at my forehead, just like right around my hairline. This is the Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer, by the way. I'm going to contour with this as well, so to do so, I'm just gonna get my brush and my bronzer like this. You probably can't tell, but about half of my brush has product on it, and with that half of my brush that has product on it, I'm gonna start creating a line right here. Once all of the product is basically on my face, I'm gonna move around and kind of blend it out, really only using that 1/2 of my brush. If you're having trouble blending, feel free to go back with that powder whatever you set your face with and blend it out with that. I'm really not going to apply much blush because I would rather keep this more bronzy than like blushy. But what I am going to apply with this Morphe E4 brush is a more coral shade of blush, which is going to complement my lip color when I apply that. Wherever you choose to apply the heaviest concentration of blush is going to affect how the structure of your face appears. So I would always recommend experimenting on, you know, changing where you apply most of your blush. For highlight, I'm using this palette that I've been holding this entire time, that you've probably been looking at this entire time. It's the Champagne Glow palette, which is the Becca Jaclyn Hill collab. And as always, I'm going to be using Champagne Pop. So I like to highlight right here on my cheekbone and not bring it any further than about here. And then take it up right here around the edge of my eyebrow and carefully blend that out. Same thing over here. I'm also going to take my finger and apply some highlight to my Cupid's bow. And then taking my blush brush, I'm going to go over my cheekbone highlight. I like to use this brush, which I forgot broke, and this is kind of embarrassing. And this Tresemmé hair gel, just this tiny little tube. I'm just going to brush that through my eyebrows. This brush is so whack right now. I desperately need a new one. Now that the face is done, I'm going to finish my lower lash line. So for that, I really love this Sigma brush. It's the E15 flat definer brush. And I'm gonna take that same brown that we put in our crease and go ahead and start applying it to the lower lash line. And then with the same transition shade that I used in my crease, I'm gonna go in with the same brush that I used for my brow bone and then use that shade to help blend this out. So I'm essentially using the same colors that I use in my crease and kind of in the same way. With the same brush I just used, I'm going to wipe it off on the back of my hand and highlight my inner corner with it. And for this look, because I do want to keep it more warm, I'm going to actually mix Champagne Pop and Pearl, and that'll help tie in like the highlight on the rest of my face as well. So I'm just gonna mix the two and then start applying it here. Now I have this bronzy color eyeliner that I really want to put on my waterline. That's gonna tie this look together and it'll be great, but I can't find it. Ta-da! And I have applied it. So it definitely adds some more definition to the eyes and then just ties in the bronzy brown color more. The camera may or may not have me a little washed out right now. I still have no idea what I'm doing, TBH. Update, I changed my lipstick. I ended up going with this like orangey colored lipstick I have, and then I just put this clear gloss on top of it. So that is the look. Very bronzy and highlighty. Nothing too complicated on the eyes. I hope you guys found this helpful. And of course, if you like this video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos of mine. I will link last week's video in the description below, and at the end of this video is an annotation. And you should totally check it out because that was honestly one of the most fun videos I've ever filmed and one of my favorites. So I'm gonna throw that out there and leave it there. So once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Why am I blue? I'm blue again. Hello. Blue, I am blue. Oh my gosh, look how blue I am. Why does it keep doing this? Hello? I low-key have some bags under my eyes right now. This coral color, that would match my cheek blush. My cheek blush.